Hey guys, tonight we begin with something that knew more about your town than the town did about itself. The 1950s telephone operator. Not the friendly recorded voice you imagine. Real, living woman. Sitting in a dim room, wearing a heavy headset, plugging cords into a wall of holes, and quietly absorbing every affair, debt, breakup, and casserole recipe within 40 miles. She was the search engine, the group chat, So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. But only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here, and a sincere thank you to the listener who suggested tonight's topic. Your ideas are honestly what keep this whole thing alive, and I never take that for granted. Let me know in the comments where you are tuning in from and what time it is for you, because somehow it is always 2 in the morning. Somewhere the channel is also now live on Spotify if you would rather drift off with just your ears. Links in the description. Now dim the lights, switch on the fan for that soft background hum, get comfortable, and try not to whisper any secrets out loud because tonight someone is always listening. Let us pause for a second. Have you ever wondered what it felt like to know everyone is business and be forbidden from saying a word? Could you sit perfectly upright for 9 hours while a supervisor breathed down your neck counting your bathroom breaks? Would you survive a job where saying the wrong word in the wrong tone could get you fired before lunch? Could you memorize an entire town's worth of numbers without a single screen to help you? And if your neighbor was quietly falling apart on a shared phone line at midnight, could you really resist listening in? Be honest. And now, congratulations, you have just woken up in 1954. You have a uniform that itches, a voice that has to stay sweet no matter what, and a wall of blinking lights that all want something from you at once. Good luck. Let us start with how you ended up here, because nobody's born wanting to plug cords into a board for a living. You are a young woman, probably between 17 and 25, unmarried with neat hair and a clear speaking voice because those were practically job requirements. Maybe your mother worked the boards before you. Maybe the factory was not hiring and the telephone company was either way. You walked into a brick building downtown, sat through an interview where they judge your diction more than your resume, and got hired into one of the few respectable jobs a woman could hold in town. Congratulations. You are now the voice of the entire community, and you have absolutely no idea what you have signed up for. The hiring process was less about what you knew and more about how you sounded. A manager sat across from you and asked simple questions, but he was not really listening to your answers. He was listening to your voice. Was it clear? Did it carry warmth? Did you slur, mumble, or let a regional twang creep in too thick? A pleasant neutral voice was your golden ticket, and a harsh or nasal one could end the interview before it began. It is a bit like being judged for a singing competition, where the only song is the word hello. Then came the physical inspection, which was every bit as judgmental. They looked at your posture, your hands, your grooming, your general air of respectability. The phone company wanted a certain kind of young woman, tidy, polite, dependable, and crucially, not the sort to cause a scandal. You were representing the company to the entire town, even if no one would ever see your face. So they checked you over like you were a prize heifer at a county fair, except the prize was a headset and a wooden chair. Your background mattered too, in ways that feel deeply unfair now. They preferred unmarried women because a wife might quit to raise children. And they often preferred a particular look and a particular kind of family reputation. Ines, Inet, Twanets, Ines, Inets, Inets, Tas, Nas, Intash, Intaz, or I.e., Nak, C, En, C, Manak, Wo, Indak, In, C, In, I, Na, Minash, In, Ivanash, In, I.e., Ini, En, Yes, In, Again, Ines, Inas, Inet, Twanets, Ines, Inets, Tuaz. Once hired, you were not simply turned loose on the board. You went through training, learning the chords, the lights, the scripts, and the rigid etiquette of the work. You practiced saying the company's phrases until they were carved into your tongue. You learned to sit for hours, to reach without straining, to keep your tone sweet under pressure. Older operators watched you, corrected you, and occasionally terrified you. It was less like starting a job and more like joining a strict, soft-spoken convent that happened to run on electricity. And the pay, modest, the prestige, surprisingly high. Being a telephone operator was considered clean, respectable work, a real step up from factory floors or domestic service. Families were proud to say their daughter worked the boards. Neighbors treated you with a touch of respect. Fitna, inda, way, anna, wana, ga, do, si, ayas, in cs, aki, bit, hell, basam, inan, na to meet the machine that will dominate every waking hour of your working life. You think you understand what you have gotten into. You absolutely do not, because waiting for you in that dim room is a towering wooden wall of holes and lights, and it is hungry. Now, let us introduce you to your new coworker, your nemesis, and the center of your entire universe, the switchboard. Picture a towering wooden wall studded with hundreds of little holes. In my D. Dangled dozens of cords tipped with brass plugs, coiled like sleeping snakes, waiting to be yanked. Above the holes, tiny lights flicker on whenever someone lifts a receiver somewhere in town. Your job is to read those blinking lights, grab the right chords, and connect two people who want to talk. ROD. And it is like a slot machine, a loom, and a panic attack combined into one beautiful oak cabinet. Up close, the board is genuinely intimidating. Each little hole is called a jack, and each one connects to a specific line somewhere out in the world. Below them sit the chords, arranged in pairs, each pair able to bridge two jacks together. Learning which is which and doing it fast is the whole job. Imagine being handed a piano with 300 keys and being told a stranger's evening depends on you hitting the right one. The chords themselves have a personality and not a pleasant one. They are weighted at the base so they retract when you are done, which sounds helpful until one snaps back at the wrong moment. They tangle, they stick, they get warm under your fingers after hours of use. You learn to handle them like a card dealer handles a deck, quick and sure, sliding a plug home without even looking. A new operator fumbles. A seasoned one barely glances down. The difference is months of aching repetition. Then there are the lights. They're your constant blinking taskmasters. When someone in town lifts their receiver, a small lamp glows on your board, silently demanding attention. When you have connected them, another light tells you the call is live. When they hang up, the light changes again. Your cue to pull the cord and free it up. During a busy spell, the whole board lights up like a Christmas display. And every single light is a person who wants something from you right now. There is no pause button, there is only the next light. The sound of the room is its own strange music. A pain, ali, ed. Answered, ever had a song stuck in your head for hours? Imagine that. But it is the gentle drone of an entire town trying to make phone calls, and the board never rests. Not really, even in the quiet hours. A light could blink at any second. And you have to be ready. You do not lean back. You do not relax. A light could blink at any second. And you have to be ready. You do not lean back. You sit poised, hands near the cords, eyes scanning the row, a coiled spring in a tidy blouse. The machine does not care that you are tired. It does not care that your back hurts. It only cares that a light is glowing, and no one has answered it yet. By the end of your first day, your fingers are sore, your eyes are crossed, and the wall of holes haunts you. But you have met the monster, and you have survived. Now you just have to learn to speak its language. Beginning with two small, soul-defining words. It is time to learn the two words that will haunt your dreams. Number, please. Every single call begins with them, spoken in a tone so warm and even that it could soothe a screaming baby or a furious banker. Inat, inat, anat, inas, the nest, inat, inatidia, inat, net. The company has rules about exactly how you speak, how fast, how friendly, and how you must never ever let your real feelings leak into your voice. You are a customer service angel, and the halo is mandatory. Those two words are not casual. They are a performance repeated hundreds, sometimes thousands of times a day. The company drilled into you precisely how they should sound. Pleasant, clear, neither rushed nor slow, with a gentle rising note on please that signaled patience and warmth. You practiced until the phrase lost all meaning, becoming pure tone, a little melody you could produce on command, no matter how you felt inside. It is like saying your own name so many times it stopped sounding real. The discipline behind it was almost military. There were correct ways to handle nearly every situation, and you were expected to know them all. If a caller was confused, you guided them gently. If a caller was rude, you stayed sweet. If a caller shouted, you absorbed it like a pillow absorbs a fist. Calm and soft and unbothered. Your voice was the company's product, and a single sharp note could be marked against you. Ever try to stay polite to someone screaming about their phone bill while a supervisor scribbles notes about your tone? That was Tuesday. There were rules for what you could and could not say. 2. You did not chat. You did not editorialize. You did not offer opinions, make jokes, or let curiosity creep into your questions. The script was tight, and you stayed inside it. A caller might be telling you something fascinating, scandalous, or heartbreaking, and your only permitted response was a calm, neutral, helpful phrase. You were a voice with no personality of its own by design. This relentless evenness took a strange toll. Holding a single emotional register for 9 hours is exhausting in a way that is hard to explain. Your real feelings did not vanish, they just had nowhere to go. You might be furious, grieving, or giddy with good news, and none of it could touch your voice. You learned to split yourself in two. The serene operator on the line, and the actual human being, trapped quietly behind her. By the end of a shift, reuniting those two halves took effort. The company believed, not entirely wrongly, that the voice was everything. To the caller, you were not a person in a chair. You were the telephone itself. The friendly spirit inside the wire. If you sounded warm, the whole system felt warm. If you sounded cold, the company seemed cold. So they polished your voice like silverware and inspected it constantly because your tone was the brand. And the brand had to gleam. And so number please became less a question and more a reflex. A phrase stitched so deeply into you that you would murmur it in your sleep. Answer your own front door with it. Nearly say it to your mother at dinner. Two small words, endlessly repeated. The opening note of every tiny drama that crossed your board, you would mastered the sound of the job. Now you had to look the part too, for an audience that would never ever see you. Let us talk about your appearance, which is strange, because no caller will ever lay eyes on you. They were the voices that knew everything and said nothing. The keepers of a town's heart, who asked for no thanks and received none, and though the wires they tended have long gone cold, something of them lingers, a reminder that connection was once a deeply human thing, held together by women who listened and remembered and never told. Sleep well.